This isn't the story of our great-great-grandfather had a distillery and now we're revitalizing it. We've always been there. We stopped making bourbon for 30 years, and now we're back. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian Donnelly. I'm an expert in distilled spirits with 9 years experience in the alcoholic beverage industry, and my goal is to educate consumers more about the alcoholic beverages they enjoy so they can make better shopping and drinking decisions. The goal of today's video is to answer one question. Does the best $60 bottle of bourbon come from not Kentucky, not Tennessee, and not Indiana, but in fact the state of Missouri? Because today we're talking about Ben Holladay bourbon. Let's get into it. All right, moving on to soft red wheat. Again, I showed you guys this earlier. And you'll see, here's your transparency in your production. Here's your bottling transparency on the side. Same in embossed distillery number on the back. Bottled in bond, Missouri straight bourbon whiskey. Similar packaging. Again, the black label indicates that it's the normal 100 proof bottling, but you can see slightly different artwork here. Again, I got a new bottle here. Let's pour this without spilling or knocking over my microphone. Not always guaranteed. So again, you have that same 6-year age statement, same 100 proof bottling, but this is the wheated expression. I know people love wheated bourbon. You know, they think it's softer, they think it's more approachable, they think it ages more gracefully, and I just don't buy it. Listen, you know, I like Maker's Mark, I like Weller, I've gotten the chance to taste some of the Pappies, but to me, wheated bourbon just doesn't deliver the depth of complexity that you get with a high rye bourbon. That's a hill that I'll die on. I know that's a bit controversial. People love their wheated bourbon. I haven't done a tasting of it yet, but I even have the full lineup of Garrison Brothers behind me. And Garrison Brothers is a wheated bourbon out of Texas. And of course, they produce their bourbon in a very specific style, but again, it's a wheated bourbon. And people love wheated bourbon. It's incredibly popular. So the fact that this brand is making a wheated bourbon just because wheated bourbon is so popular absolutely isn't surprising, and that's what I think makes this portfolio so perfect, because it gives customers two options, right? You have a traditional bourbon in the Ben Holladay with an almost high rye mash bill, and then you have your wheated option. So now we're going to be tasting the wheated option, and I haven't revisited this in a while, so maybe this will convert me. Maybe I'll drink this and I'll say, hey, I'm going to start drinking just wheated bourbon moving forward, but probably not. All right. Holladay Soft Red Wheat, 6-year-old bottled in bond Missouri straight bourbon whiskey, first released in 2023. Soft Red Wheat is the brand's second product and has no historical significance to the distillery. The company's president enjoyed wheated bourbon, so he asked the master distiller to produce one about a year after he started distilling the flagship Ben Holladay bourbon. This expression is the same as Ben Holladay except for the mash bill, which uses wheat instead of rye. So the soft red wheat expression uses a mash bill of 73% Missouri corn, 15% wheat, and 12% malted barley, uses estate limestone spring water, has a barrel entry proof of 118 or 59% ABV, and is aged on site in new number 3 charred Missouri white oak barrels for a minimum of 6 years. This product follows all the bottled and bond and Missouri bourbon laws and is non-chill filtered, bottled in small batches of 48 to 52 barrels at 100 proof or 50% ABV. And the soft red wheat, all right, so you really can smell the difference in a bourbon with a lot of rye and a bourbon with wheat. Because, I know it's a bit subjective. Like, I know this product is a wheated bourbon, but you can smell that difference. That rye is going to have that spice, even if it's that kind of subtle undertone. And this really has that kind of grassy wheat smell to it. And you'd really only know it if you smell a lot of bourbon and if you smell a lot of high rye bourbon versus wheated bourbon. So think, Woodford Reserve high rye bourbon versus Maker's Mark wheated bourbon. Either way, it's a beautiful nose, beautiful color, and let's try it. Again, my mouth's already warmed up. To the alcohol. This is bottled at 100 proof. And there's good flavor. I mean, there really is good flavor. It's just a different type of flavor. It could be argued that there's a softness to wheated bourbons. You know, that wheat is a softer, small grain on the palate versus rye. It just delivers a different flavor. So again, there's good flavor on this. You know, that age statement, bottling proof really does give this that same kind of full-bodied mouthfeel. And I would say this is a bit softer. I mean, the stereotype that wheated bourbon is, there's a lot of truth to it. And I would say this does drink slightly differently. Even though it's got the same age statement, it's got the same bottling proof, this drinks differently, slightly differently than the flagship Ben Holladay. And perhaps this really is for a different type of bourbon drinker. For someone that is a diehard wheated bourbon drinker, I think this is going to hit the nail on the head of that flavor profile. But let's revisit it. I mean, listen, just because you're a wheated bourbon doesn't mean you can't deliver good flavor. And I would say that softness of the wheat really rings true on that second sip. I mean, it really shines. There's still strong flavor here. It's different. It's a different flavor. There is a bit less, that spice, and it is softer. But when I say soft, I don't mean weak, right? Because at 100 proof, 6-year age statement, this is still a serious bourbon. But that wheat's just going to change the flavor profile. And it's fascinating to see the way that small grains shape the flavor profile. Because again, everything is the same. All the production's the same on this product. The only thing that's different is instead of 15% rye, you have 15% wheat, and it changes everything. It's honestly crazy. And that's what makes bourbon so fascinating. So this is line priced with the Ben Holladay. So in my market, this is also going to retail between $58 and $62. So do I think this is worth $60? For $60, I would buy the flagship Ben Holladay. But if you're a serious wheated bourbon drinker, and you spent $60 on this product, I think it would be worth the money and you would not be disappointed. So thank you so much again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you even learned something. Please give this video a like and consider subscribing. If you do not care about the video component of these brand education and tasting videos, please consider subscribing to my podcast. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you consume your podcasts. Also, if you would like to support this channel further, please consider becoming a Patreon member or gift me a cocktail through the link below in the description. Thank you so much again for your support. If you would like to be notified whenever I have new content on my website or this YouTube channel, please consider subscribing to my email newsletter. I'll leave a link below in the description. And if you have feedback or recommendations for this channel, please leave me a comment. Or if you'd like to have a more in-depth conversation, please shoot me an email. I personally read all the emails I receive, and I do my best to reply to all of them. So if you have any recommendations for the channel, leave me a comment. Or if you want to have a more in-depth conversation, shoot me an email. Thank you so much again for watching, and as always, please drink responsibly. Cheers.